Prepare yourself for a brutal truth that the mainstream real estate market is desperate to keep hidden from you. What is currently being sold as the visionary solution to the global housing crisis is, in reality, a calculated high-level strategy to completely recompute the very concept of property. We are witnessing the systematic dismantling of the American dream, transformed into an unattainable luxury reserved for a tiny fraction of the elite. We are talking about housing shrinkflation, a sophisticated financial maneuver where you are being conditioned to pay significantly more for much, much less. In the world of 2026, the walls are closing in, literally. But who really benefits from this new reality where the middle class is pushed into the backyard? How does this affect your future, your legacy, and the very definition of what it means to have a home? Today, we at Housing Deconstructed are peeling back the layers of the accessory dwelling unit craze to reveal the blueprint for a future where you own the box, but Wall Street owns the land. The official narrative being fed to us is seductive and expertly crafted. We are told that in a landscape of scarce land and prohibitive prices, the miraculous cure for the affordability crisis is sitting right in your own backyard. Through a wave of aggressive zoning laws, most notably the federal expansion of California's SB 9 and similar sweeping legislations in Washington, Oregon, and Florida, the concept of the accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, has been rebranded. They've moved away from calling them granny flats or basement apartments. In 2026, these are luxury backyard bungalows. They're marketed as the ultimate democratization of real estate investment, a way for the average person to finally become a developer. This narrative has paved the way for a new breed of predator, the housing tech startup. Companies like Abudu, Villa, and Vantum have raised hundreds of millions in venture capital from the same players who disrupted the taxi industry and the hotel industry. Their mission is to transform the traditional American suburb, once a symbol of space and privacy, into a dense, high-frequency network of micro-rentals. But as we advance further into this decade of institutional capture, a second sign emerges, one that shifts the weight of this supposed solution. While the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg have documented this phenomenon as a backyard gold rush for homeowners, the deeper truth revealed by our investigations shows the final stage of housing shrinkflation. This isn't a democratization of the market, it is a fundamental redefinition of what constitutes dignified housing. The promise of tiny homes as an accessible alternative is a carefully constructed facade. It is the bait in a trap designed to lower your expectations of what a home should be. By normalizing micro-living, the system is preparing a generation to accept a lower standard of living while paying a premium for the privilege. The third sign unmasks the pattern and the emerging consequences of this shift. According to our data, prefabricated units of only 400 square feet are being marketed in 2026 for upwards of $250,000, and that is just the sticker price. It doesn't include the crushing infrastructure fees, the labyrinth of permit costs, and the expensive utility connections. What is being sold is not efficiency, but the normalization of a massive financial disparity. You are being asked to pay the price of what a full-size suburban luxury home cost in the 1990s for a space that in any other decade would have been considered a storage shed or a detached garage. Wall Street has realized that it can no longer build infinite horizontal suburbs because the land is gone or too expensive to develop. Their solution: to mine the density out of the land you already own. If they can't build a new city, they will simply force 3 or 4 families onto your single lot, harvesting the rental income while you shoulder the debt. This brings us to the discovery, the big secret that banks and developers are hiding behind their glossy brochures. ADUs are not about making housing affordable for you. They are about shrinkflation, making you pay an exorbitant price for a minimal space while Wall Street consolidates its control over the underlying asset. The long-term vision of the 2026 market is a landscape where traditional property ownership, the house with the yard and the white picket fence, becomes a luxury reserved for the ultra-wealthy. For everyone else, the future is accessory. We are moving into micro-units, paying mansion-level prices for dormitory living. This is the long-term strategy behind the ADU revolution, to change the concept of housing forever, transforming you from a sovereign property owner into a glorified janitor of a micro-rental network, no matter how small your home may be. Think about the psychological manipulation at play. For decades, the American dream was defined by the expansion of space, more square footage, more privacy, more land. It was the physical manifestation of freedom and upward mobility. But in the late 2020s, that dream has been inverted. Now, less is more. We are told that minimalism is a virtue, that tiny living is sustainable, and that shared spaces are the future of community. But look at who is telling you this. The people pushing this narrative are not living in 400-square-foot boxes. They are the ones living in the mansions on the hill, watching their portfolios grow as they squeeze the middle class into smaller and smaller footprints. They've successfully rebranded poverty as a lifestyle choice. They've turned the loss of space into a chic design trend. The economic trap of the ADU is particularly cruel because it uses the homeowner's own desperation as a weapon. In 2026, the average family is struggling with stagnant wages and a cost of living that refuses to cool down. The pitch of passive income from a backyard rental feels like a lifeline. Take out a home equity line of credit. Use the equity you've built over 20 years to finance a prefab unit. The rent will cover the mortgage. But what they don't tell you is that you are taking on 100% of the risk for a depreciating asset. A prefab box in the backyard does not appreciate like land does. It is a product, like a car or a computer, that begins to lose value the moment it is installed. Meanwhile, you have leveraged your primary asset, your family home, to fund this experiment. If the rental market shifts, or if the algorithm that controls the prices in your neighborhood decides to drop the rates, you are the one left holding the debt. Furthermore, we must deconstruct the impact on your property's long-term value. Real estate is built on comparables. For nearly a century, a single-family home was valued based on its privacy and its potential for a family to grow. When you install an ADU, you are effectively apartmentizing your lot. You are deleting the privacy that once made your home a sanctuary. When it comes time to sell in 5 or 10 years, you're not selling to a family looking for a home. You're selling to an investor looking for a business. You've shrunk your pool of potential buyers to the very institutional players who are funding this crisis. You haven't added value. You've surrendered your property's soul to the rental machine. This is the ultimate endgame of the backyard monopoly. The system wants to eliminate the independent homeowner because an independent homeowner is a person with power and autonomy. A person who owns their land outright is a person who cannot be easily controlled or squeezed. By pushing us into ADUs and encouraging us to turn our homes into multi-unit rental businesses, they are ensuring that every square inch of the American suburb is producing yield for the financial system. They want you to live small so they can profit big. They want a world of high-density dormitories where everyone is an accessory to someone else's wealth. Does this shift in paradigm ignite a sense of indignation in you? Do you see how the dream of homeownership is being stolen bit by bit through this calculated shrinkflation? We have to stop looking at these luxury sheds as progress and start seeing them for what they really are, a retreat. It is a tactical withdrawal of the middle class from the heights of property ownership. We are being told to be grateful for the crumbs of the land we once owned in full. The Goldilocks report of 2026 might say inflation is down, but if the house you can afford is half the size for twice the price, the inflation hasn't stopped. It's just been redesigned to look like innovation. We are at a crossroads in the history of the American neighborhood. One path leads back to the restoration of real property rights and the protection of the single-family home. The other leads to a dystopian urban density where privacy is a memory and ownership is just a polite word for a long-term lease in a box. The choice is ours, but the time to make it is running out. The machines are already in the backyards. The contracts are already being signed. The blueprint is being executed. The only way to stop the backyard monopoly is to recognize the game for what it is and refuse to play by their rules. Your home is not an accessory. Your land is not a yield center. It's time to take back the narrative and defend the space that belongs to you.
Leave your thoughts in the comments. Are you seeing this shrinkflation in your own neighborhood? Let's deconstruct the future together before there's nothing left to own. Stay skeptical, stay analytical, and never let them convince you that your box is a castle. Stay tuned as we continue to follow the money and reveal the brutal truths they want to hide in plain sight.